Hi everyone, welcome to the episode 3 of Spark tutorials. Today we are going to talk about the high-level architecture and the RDDs in Spark. So first let's take a look at the Spark architecture on very high level. On the very high level we have a master and a worker model. So what it means is Spark application starts with the driver program. Driver is basically the brain of the Spark. It starts with the main, as in every program we have a main, and in the Spark, when the main starts, first thing that it does is, let's take an example that we have seen earlier, right? Counting the number of the words in the sentence. So what the main does is it asks the cluster manager to allocate the resources. So let's say that our program, our computation will run on 5 machines, 10 machines, and so on, those nodes, right? So what the cluster manager does is it can be standalone, it can be Yarn, or it can be Kubernetes. It allocate the resources, allocate the CPU and the memory, chooses how many executor we should have, and gives that information to the driver program. And that's it. That's the only job of the cluster manager in this sense. And after that, what the driver program does is it coordinates the job. It starts to it it waits for the each executor to finish its work, and it collect the result and return the result back to the user. So if we look at the Spark application lifecycle step-by-step process, so what we have is when we start an application, driver process begins, driver connects to the cluster manager, as I've mentioned earlier, and the cluster manager allocates the executors on workers. So which means that it allocates the resources that we need. And then driver sends the code function to the executors. And so basically the driver start to coordinate the work. Executor run the task. Executor don't have any other function, any other than the run the specific task, and they send the result back. And after that, driver stops the Spark context and shut down the executors. So to summarize, right, to summarize what we have, to better visualize that, so we start with the driver. Driver asks the cluster manager to give the resources. Cluster manager gives those resources. Driver give those resources in form of the executors. Then the driver sends the code to the executors to execute that, and when they return the result, the driver combines those results and returns it. Next, let's talk about the RDD. RDD stands for the Resilient Distributed Datasets. So an RDD is a distributed collection of elements. So what's that mean? It means that it's a basically large amount of data, right? So what we are doing is we are splitting across many machines. That's the whole point of the Spark, that we have a large amount of data and we are splitting across many machines, and we are processing them in parallel, and then we are collecting that results. What are the properties of the RDD? The first one is immutable. So that's one of the important properties of the RDD, which is that once it's created, it cannot be changed. It's distributed, which means that it's spread across the many nodes, and it's lazy. Lazy, we are going to talk about it in details later, but basically what it means is that we are not starting any computation, we are not starting any pipeline unless we are calling action. So we may have 50 transformations, for example, mapping from one data type to another data type, and also filtering the data. Unless we are calling action, so unless we are not calling any, let's say that any result where what is the point of these transformations, then the pipeline will not start. So that's why we are calling it lazy. And it's so fault tolerant, so which means that if any of the transformations have failed, then in that case what we do is we are rebuilding the lost partitions via the lineage. So let's take one example. In this example, we have input RDD, and the first thing that what we are doing here, we are calling a map function. In the map function, it does the transformation. So in the map, we may, for example, convert that from one data type to another, from the integer to string or vice versa. and it creates for us another RDD. As you can see here, RDD is immutable. If we are performing any operation, it creates for us a new RDD. And the next one is we are filtering that data again. It again creates for us the new RDD, and so for each transformation, we are getting a new RDD. So for the as a note, so each transformation creates a new RDD, as we have seen here. And also the RDDs, they are forming a directed acyclic graph, also called the DAG, representing the lineage. This is very important. Why it's directed? It's directed because each node has a direction. It's a form. So for example, in this case, right, we have from the parent RDD, we are so child RDD here directly inheriting from the parent RDD. So we have clear direction here. That's the first one. It's acyclic because there should be no loops. We cannot have an RDD depend on itself. And what's the purpose of the DAG? The purpose of the DAG is used by the DAG scheduler to plan how to execute the jobs. So what happens is that the Spark groups operation into stages and submit them as tasks to executors. Let's take a look at the lazy evaluation and the DAG execution, how exactly Spark executes your code, right? First, for the transformation, as we have seen earlier, each of them are creating a new RDDs, which is forming our DAG, our logical plan. Our logical plan only starts if we have any action on them. If we are not calling any action, our pipeline does not start. So we are calling either count, for example, to count the number of the words, or we are calling collect to collect at a new data structure, and so on. So we have some terminal operation here, right? So we need some operation that should give us a result. So for example, in the Streams API, in Java, starting from the Java 8, it's called the terminal operation. So we have intermediate operations and we have the terminal operations, and they are working exactly the same. So we have intermediate operations, which is transformation, and they will not, so the transformation will not happen unless we have some actions that is performed on them. So about the Spark process, so what we have is we are building a DAG, and after that we are splitting that into stages, and those stages are, so we are sending those tasks to the executors to perform. Let's take one example of the RDD or DAG lineage, and let's step by step understand them. So for example, in this example, what we have is, in the first step, right, we are creating a new RDD from the list of the numbers. This is our first RDD. In the next step, what we do is we are calling a map function, which takes the square for each number. So for example, we are taking the square for number 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? This is the second. This is still lazy. The first one is lazy because we haven't called any action yet. The second one also lazy because this is transformation part, right? And then in the second, we are filtering, we are taking only the numbers that are more than 25. And then after that, we are calling collect, right? As a third step, we are calling collect, so which means that we are collecting that to a new RDD. This one here, this triggers the execution. Without it, if let's say that our code does not have a third step, then in that case, no pipeline will start. So what happens is that the Spark builds a DAG and run the tasks on the executors. So now let's go and take a look at the fault tolerance part of the DAG and the RDD and why it's resilient, right? For example, let's take this example. Let's say that we have a node or partition failure. So then in that case, what happens is that the Spark recomputes the missing data using the DAG lineage. Let's take it step by step, right? What exactly happens? Let's say that we have several executors, and one of those executor fails. If the executor fails, what happens as a next step is that cluster manager, it restarts the new executor. And after that, cluster manager notifies the driver, and what the driver does is that through the DAG scheduler, it identifies the lost tasks, and after that, those lost tasks, task scheduler resubmit those tasks again, and the new executor that have just started, it execute those tasks. So step by step. So to recap what we have learned in this episode, we have a Spark, which is basically that split it into three parts, right? We have a driver, which is the brain of the Spark. We have a cluster manager that allocates the resources, and then we have executors that are actually performing tasks. We have RDDs. It's basically our data. It's immutable. It's distributed, so which means that the whole point of the Spark, which means that we are distributing them to be run on the several nodes, several machines. It's lazy. Unless we are calling an action, the pipeline will not start, and it's fault tolerant. If any of the steps are failed, then using the DAG lineage, we are going to recompute those steps. And the transformations, building a DAG, which is a logical plan, and the action, trigger, and execution, which is our physical plan. And the DAG lineage enables auto recovery. Again, as a last note, we can add that here that the Spark waits until you ask it for the result. That's why we are calling it lazy evaluation.